we can't keep closing pubs and turning them into restaurants. There's a lot of people...
Or into real estate.
Or real estate especially, yeah. There's a lot of people on the island who do struggle with mental health. And not that drinking is the way. Yeah. It's not.
But
it's definitely not. But
way.
meeting people, communicating your feelings. So you don't just open the door and it happens. Yeah. You know, you've got to make sure that the staff's well-being is looked after. The chefs are okay. We've got enough stock. Everything's rotated. The fridges are clean. The glass machine. The general upkeep of the building. So you only see it the front of the bar. It's what goes on behind it. You know, the heartbeat. You're pouring a pint. That's the easy part.
But what kept you, for that long?
It's diversity in a role. You're not doing the same thing every day. It feels like sometimes you're doing the same thing or you're banging your head in a brick wall, but you're chiseling away and you're breaking things down and you're achieving your goals. You're setting targets for yourself. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. 36 years in hospitality. If I didn't enjoy it, I'd give it up. Yeah, I want to leave something behind, people remember me as somebody who always tried, but somebody who has passed knowledge on. There's no point, as I said, there's no point in having it if you're not going to share it.
Keith,
Dan,
general manager of Posthorn, one of the best kept secrets in town, because you are in the center of town, but just kind of like hidden away, which I always find it interesting. I like these places, where, you're off the beating path, which, you definitely are. And it's a lot bigger than I was expecting. It was fairly recently, well, before we'd met, actually, that I knew that you have upstairs as well. So it's quite a big place you got there.
It is, yeah. It's a nice al fresco area as well. So you don't get many people walking by. You can sit and chill out. Yeah, the upstairs is brilliant. It's so versatile.
Yeah, amazing. And actually, my first job was in a pub. I started at Port Latine here in Jersey. And we were just talking about earlier that it took me so long, we are 34 episodes in to get a pub manager.
Yeah.
Which,
Considering the demographic of the island, the amount of hospitality going on, it's a bit...
Yeah. It took a bit of time, but you guys are busy. And especially now, we are, at the time of the recording, it's 17 today. So we are in full craziness of football. So how is this going at your place?
It's really good, really good. Great start, unfortunately not for Scotland, but a great start in terms of crowd and people watching the game. Seemingly a lot of English fans were supporting Scotland as well for some reason. I thought they would have been dead against it, but it was a nice mixed crowd. Yeah, there was some grumblings. A lot of people lost a few quid on their little side bets. Wanted Scotland. I think wanting Germany to get knocked out quickly, I think, was the reason behind it, and not so much that they love Scotland. So,
yeah. For pulling together against the enemy.
But the beauty of Jersey is there are so many different nationalities. It's a cultural melting pot, and everybody comes together to watch the football. Very little animosity, always a good bit of decent banter.
Yeah.
The fun, the atmosphere is really good.
It's very well set up in your place. I like when you have the tables and you have the little screen, like right next to your table.
The booths,
I think that's amazing.
It is.
I might be wrong, but it's the only place I've seen in New Jersey.
Yes, there were a few places quite a few years ago, but they went off the beaten track. Sports Bar, Sports Galaxy, they had them. I'm not sure if you remember those places.
No, really.
I'm a bit long in the tooth.
Well, you've been been doing hospitality for years, which we're gonna get to it because apart from working in as a manager and dealing with this part, you also work in the kitchen, which I think is a very strong advantage to have because you understand both worlds now.
Yeah,
and you can put them together.
The benefit of that for me is being able to bring the kitchen team and the front of house team together. Less animosity. You can understand both sides and you don't take one side over the other. So, it's trying to keep it a level playing field and keep everything clean and everyone happy, I suppose.
Yeah, so your place upstairs, it's transforming into something totally different when your favorite team plays.
Yeah,
so
Manchester United.
Tell us a bit about that. How was that beneficial or detrimental for your business? I'm guessing it's beneficial because you've been going on for that long.
We were founded in 1990 by Mark Jones, very well known chap on the island, and it's been going from strength to strength. They are, I think this is the 6th season going in, maybe the 6th season at the Posthorn, barring COVID. But it's really good. It brings a lot of people together, but it keeps the United fans separate from, the mixed fans downstairs. So it does get a little bit heated upstairs. They can say what they like. It's a private members club, within reason, as long as they keep it clean.
Yeah.
But it's very good for business. We do get a lot of repeat bookings from functions and whatnot. But somewhere for the Man United fans to congregate together, a lot of them know each other. A small island, but a lot of them are from Manchester and throughout the world. Thankfully, we do have a Canadian who is a bit of a United fan as well. So yeah, we do pretty well out of it. Yeah.
Something that I had this misconception when I started working especially in Jersey, because from Romania, pubs for me, I didn't even know what pub means till I actually got here, and it's like, it's public house, that's where it comes from. For me, it was just like, pub is the word, nothing else. I didn't know that's just a short word for public house. But how much of a pub these days is food and how much is drink? Because in my mind, when I came to Jersey, pubs, were like, in my mind, well, it's just drink really, nothing else. But then it's a lot more. When I started working for Portlet Inn, different kind of institution, but food played a big role as well. It wasn't just people were coming for both, not just like coming for a drink. How much that plays? How much drink? How much food in your business?
We're still very wet led, and we worked very hard. We recently went under a transformation, with the brewery investing quite heavily in the business. But the key outcome of this was keeping the pub character, not turning it into a pub. Or a restaurant, gastronome pub, where it's still a pub that serves food and it still has that community feeling to it, the community spirit, and the pub feel. It's very important. There's a lot of places that have lost that character, and for us to keep it is really, really nice. And it's kudos down to Liberation Group. They've been absolutely.
Do you think
brilliant.
that's what's keeping you alive? Because I've seen an article the other day. Well, it was referring to the UK. To be fair, it probably doesn't apply that much here, but to a degree it does. That they were talking about the almost disappearance of pubs from communities, which used to be like the place where you meet from your friends to your relatives to everything else, for a drink or for a quick bite or just have a conversation. Do you think these are slowly disappearing and it's getting harder and harder keeping businesses like yours alive?
Yeah, sadly, and as you touched on earlier, we are just off the beaten track, so it does still feel like a country pub in the heart of town. We very rarely get any unwanted guests, I suppose, to put it politely. We do get people in testing the waters a little bit, but it's how you treat them as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of being a landlord and being in hospitality and being a publican is how you treat people, because I don't want to go in getting a bit loud, having a bit of a crack with my mates, and someone coming over and chastising me. It's how you speak to people, and that's how you gain the respect. But losing that pub feel, we can't keep closing pubs and turning them into restaurants. There's a lot of people,
or into real estate,
or real estate especially. There's a lot of people on the island who do struggle with mental health, and not that drinking is the way. It's not.
But
it's definitely not.
Is the
but
way.
Meeting people, communicating your feelings. I've recently done my first aid for mental health program, and now I'm a qualified mental health first aider, which is it's really, really good for me, the business, our community, and my friends and family as well. It's helped me understand a lot more about my own mental health, and how important it is to have that community around you. Sometimes I shy away, and I'll go away on my own and just try and deal with things myself. But it's a lot easier when you open up and chat to people. And if we have that, the doors are open for people. We have to allow people to have that option rather than just turn everything into food.
Because restaurants, it's you lose that connection between people. It's almost like you sit at that table, I sit at this table. We probably never have a conversation. But when you have a pub, most likely people will stay at the bar. Once they get a pint, they're like, how are you? And especially because you have these fans club, I guess, you meet like-minded people, and I think it's quite powerful, yeah.
It is. People are creatures of habit, so they like to sit in their own areas. Everybody knows everybody, though, so somebody's birthday, everybody will sing happy birthday, or a bit of banter, or if something's going wrong, they're there to put an arm on their shoulder as well and support them. One of the hard parts of this game is getting close to people and seeing them pass away. And that's really tough. It was tough on the whole community and the pub, everybody in it, the team, our guests, and also the people who run.
Because I guess you kind of like know most of their lives. If you have people, repeated customers, and they come again and again, and they come for that chat, they come to have a conversation. You probably know them like better than some of their family members.
Yeah. We see them every day. A lot of them sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. If they'll come in and pop in. They don't even have to have a pint. They'll pop in and say hello to some of their mates and have a chat at the bar, chat with the team. And I'm very, very blessed. Touchwood continues that I've recruited very well, and I've got a great team, great diversity in the characters. But from quite a few from Kenya, but we have an Indian guy in the kitchen. Vinny's the head chef who gave me my first start in Banks Restaurant all those years ago in Jersey. He's from Manchester. I have a Polish lad who I introduced to hospitality in 2009, decent enough when I was the head chef there. We have a guy who's just come on board from Paraguay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my assistant manager from Paraguay. So yeah, there's a nice diversity in the culture, and it's a really good team spirit.
I just want to take a moment to tell you that if you are struggling to manage your social media for your hospitality businesses, you are not alone. At True 24 FPS, we are not just producing content for the sake of doing it. We are focusing exclusively on Jersey's hospitality industry, and we are turning your followers into loyal guests. Your attention as a hospitality business owner, manager, or head chef is leading staff, focusing on day-to-day operations, and also maybe changing menus and other things that are day-to-day challenges. But you don't have time for social media, which is still a critical part, but it just falls behind. So leave the social media and content creation side for us, because this is what we specialized in, so you can focus on what you do best. And now back to the episode.
But do you have enough stuff? Because this is one of the challenges that some people talk about, will business go, I'm not saying in your situation, we'll get there as well, but most people I talk to is business is good. We just don't have enough manpower.
It is a massive challenge. I don't think the government are helping with the 9 months. Or this roll on of 3 years and keep these people out of the island for 3 years. I'm not sure if you understand the 9 months how it works. So we've got people who are giving up their lives in their own country, coming over, paying into the system, paying social security, tax. Then they have to leave for 3 months and start again. So those 9 months they've invested is gone. It's worthless to them.
Yeah.
So people are starting to question, do we come back? What's the point in coming back? Yeah. So a lot of them are going to the mainland. Going elsewhere in Europe to work, but we have been recruiting very hard.
This is the thing, we can go in Europe and have an easier life from this point of paperwork.
We have a great recruitment team in the UK with Liberation Group. Dan and Madison absolutely do endless work, fantastic work, and are supported so well by the brewery as well, which is perfect for us. And we're encouraged to constantly be on the lookout for good talent. For us, it's not about just getting people in. It's getting people in and training them in the right way, in the Liberation way, our way we call it, and giving them a chance to succeed. It's not you come in at this level and you stay at that level. There are options where you can step up to team leader, assistant manager, hopefully progress to a GM role, or the same in kitchens. We invite our kitchen porters. Become a kitchen assistant, become a commis chef, become a chef de partie, a sous chef, and then step up.
Change your life.
Walk your way through. The head chef in Trinity started with me as a kitchen porter. He's the head chef in Trinity now. He's a cracking lad, Mishak. Absolutely beautiful lad, but very dedicated. He's passionate, loves his job. And it's great to see, that's what hospitality has lost for quite some years, the passion. People wanting to work on it instead of using it as a stopgap. We've got a job now. Yeah, great. But we don't really care about it. The whole of hospitality suffers, but the guests suffer too because they're not getting that attention to detail.
Yeah, the service is just not as it used to be.
Yeah. And sadly, it's still there, but it's just to us as leaders of hospitality is to train these people and show them why. It's a great place to work.
But do you find it challenging, something, definitely Kenyans, oh my God, so many people mention, especially on the front of house, not saying that they're bad in the kitchen, but so many people mention, and I have people at work, they have nothing to do with hospitality, pure customers, basically. So I'm always curious to see from both sides. And they're like, you know what, they're so good. They always love to almost like serve, if this makes sense. Because that's what hospitality is, right?
Exactly.
And apparently, they're quite good. I mean, I had a few interactions and I thought, man, they really care. I mean, they might not have exactly as you said. I think you need to refine, some of the stuff they do because they're coming from a different culture. But do you find it difficult how long do they need usually, for adapting to Jersey? Because the reason why I'm asking this, going back to the 9-month contract, if they say they need a few months to adapt, then you're already as an employer, you're losing some of that 9 months just to train that person.
Yeah, you're looking at probably 6 weeks for them to bed in, get comfortable, and to bring their full personality out and let them show, not just us, but the rest of the team and the guests, that they are wonderful at the job and they are great people. My team down there are 4 Kenyans and all different personalities. When they smile, the whole place lights up. They just, you can feel that they love and work.
Yeah,
they
do it naturally.
and they really appreciate it. Yeah. They appreciate it. They appreciate everything they get out of work. They appreciate. They're just really good people. Sadly, Jersey still has a bit of animosity towards people coming into the country, into the island. And they do get a little bit, but it's tidying up a bit. And again, it's how you portray that towards your guests to make sure that, hang on a minute, you've got to watch it. If these people are doing great jobs.
Yeah.
And they're doing the jobs that you don't want to do, and there's people in Jersey sat on the backside collecting money for doing nothing. Unfortunately, some people can't work, but there are quite a few who just can't be bothered, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you're right with that. And my opinion, as a migrant here, if you're coming and you bring value to the island, to the community, you're trying to integrate well into the community, you're doing all the parts that you should do when you in a different country. I think that's definitely a positive in my eyes for the island. Now, surely we have people that do it differently. Well, those shouldn't be here then, that's how I see it. And yes. I think we need to be a bit more, or the government needs to be a bit more selective, I guess. If you're genuinely not an asset for the island, then you need to go. But let's let the people that are genuinely bringing value to the island, because you need it.
Yeah.
There are certain jobs that people don't want to do them. So you need to outsource.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
It's tough on immigration because they've done a wonderful job getting these people in and turning these applications over as quickly as possible. But one of the stipulations is now are police checks, which I think should have come in a long time ago. Not just they're okay in their own country. That's fantastic. But if they've been living elsewhere, they have to provide 2 police checks. So, and it's got to be in date, the last 6 months. So police checking, it shouldn't just be immigrants. I'm one myself. I'm from Dublin. So I know how tough it is to come over here. And not here, I think I was here about 9 months. And I was in the Lamplighter having a pint with one of my friends. And a former politician turned around, I won't mention him, turned around and said, "Oh yeah, well, we're sick of your sort over here." And I said, "What do you mean my sort?" Yeah. Alluding to the fact that I was Irish. I'm like, seriously? This is a politician. These are the leaders of our island.
Yeah, I guess you won't hear these, officially. But in a pub, the conversations are real.
Yeah.
So you'll have like the real, what they actually think, not what they actually say.
Yeah, and what went through my head and what I wanted to do to the chap, thankfully, well restrained. And gave him a bit of an earful, quietly. Not to draw attention to myself, and I wasn't even spoken to by the bar team, so I did it quite well. And yeah, it was a bit frustrating, to be honest.
But apart from the 9 months period, which we know that it's a short period of time, especially when you have places running all year around. It's not like the seasonal stuff. I kind of get it, because then you can. The job is just for a few months and that's it. So I get that part, but what can be done apart from like extending? Is there anything else like in terms of like the way the process is done? I mean, you mentioned about the police check, but what else do you think it can be done to speed up the things? Is there something, or is already at the fast pace? All we need is extended.
Yeah, I think starting with the 3 years. Okay, give them 9 months. Give them a 9-month contract, because they might not be good.
Yeah.
You know, everybody can look good on paper and interview well.
True.
Until you get here and do the job. And you give them the benefit of the doubt for the 3 months probation they have. If they're good, we'll keep them. If not, unfortunately, we have to let them go. Thankfully, it's not happened for us yet. But I think having the option, you know, come for 3 months. And if you like it, great. And if you're a benefit and an asset to the community and hospitality industry and the island, great. Allow them the 3 years. But don't make them leave for 3 years. Keep, you know, say 3 months. Why are they so different? You know, I do understand that we have to keep the population right on the island. But if we have everybody working and we have full teams, we can serve more. In serving more, we all know how high the duty is on alcohol. So we can give more back to the government. We're creating more employment. More people are coming. More people are happy. So you're also creating a happy atmosphere. So, you know, there's not a lot we can do or say or talk about it. Or I suppose we can talk a lot about it, but there's not a lot we can do about it. And it's just try and trust in the government and that they are going in the right way. You know, the head of hospitality, Marcus and Anna, are doing really well and working.
I was going to ask, what's your opinion on them? The way they since they've been
working very, I think they're working very hard and it's clear communication, which is very, very important for us, and it gives us a belief that we are going the right direction with it.
How do you do in terms of accommodation? Because that's another thing which I guess being part of a bigger group, it must help to a degree. Because I guess, you know, all that purchasing power, maybe you can, you know, the group can decide. I'm not saying that it happens, but, you know, I know Randall's, for example, they used to do it. They buy a building, you know, they will turn it into staff accommodation and we get all our stuff in there, which small businesses can't really do that. Yeah. So that is where I think the advantage comes. Do you do the same? Do you have enough spaces?
We have, let me see, 18. We have 18 rooms in the old Lemerod Hotel down in Rue St. Thomas. Which is in Longville. We have 18 rooms there that we rent from the owners of the hotel. We have upstairs in the corner house, upstairs, the Mary Rose, formerly Tangies. We've just got the Troubadour back, so that's back to being a managed part of the managed estate. We have 5 rooms up there, another 3 rooms in the Langtree. So all in all, we've got about 50 rooms, which is not too bad, but we could do it more, you know. But again, with the 9-month contract, nobody wants to give out leases to people. They will live, you know, they'll share.
You want to have continuity.
Continuity, yeah, of course. And you, obviously for the landlords, they want someone secure, guaranteed money, but also safe in the knowledge that their business or the property, well, there is a business for them if they are letting it out. So that it's not going to be destroyed. So there is a big risk in renting places privately for landlords, but it's really difficult and it's very expensive. But we are constantly working to get more rooms. It's one of the parts of my job now is to keep track on the rooms of what we have and who's coming and going, and which takes up a lot of time, but it's enjoyable. You get to meet more teams around. With you know, you're saying we are a liberation group, and going back to being short on team, we do help each other out as much as possible, which is nice. You know, it shows other team members from different businesses in the estate that it's not always done that way. It's all done the same way, but you know, service is different, personnel is a different pub. Every pub, every outlet has its own character, so it's good for them to see as well, and it gives them a better experience of hospitality as well. So
yeah, absolutely. I think in hospitality is really important. Well, if you can't travel necessarily, if you can't go to experience different countries, which some people do, you know, just to see different cultures, food, drink, and everything else, trying different places, you know, on the place you are, I think it brings your knowledge, you know, to a whole different level. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, one of the benefits of working for the company now is you've got 30% off, so you can get any of our businesses 30% off. It's great, you know. You can, you know, for the price of food now to buy it and cook it, you can't do it, and the time you spend in it, you know, you're going out, you're getting professionally cooked meals served to you by a good team in nice environments, and another benefit of working for a liberation group. Yeah.
But were you guys affected? I mean, I had a conversation with Flo at some point, but I don't think the law passed at that point. I know the tax on alcohol, the alcohol duty increased. How affected were you? Because as a pub manager, I think that was like the first thing probably you thought about, like it's becoming unaffordable.
Yeah.
And you got to go with the prices up,
Yeah, initially they wanted 9%.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And they
Absolutely
settled
crazy.
a bit lower.
Settled it with 4.5%. They did try and completely save us with a 0%, but that was voted out.
Do you think it was a strategy to say 9%, knowing that, they can almost like haggle?
No, I think it's just greed and laziness from the government. It's an easy tax. But what you're going to do, you're going to drive people out of businesses. You're going to lose employment. You're going to lose businesses. People are going to be at their wits' end. They'll be drinking at home. What happens when you drink at home? Possibility of domestic violence, underage drinking. But we're the ones...
No control at all.
No control.
Yeah.
And we're the ones in a social environment, controlled social environment.
You respond.
Professionals.
You literally have those people under your
control, under your wing, and you're making sure they're not drinking too much. And there's some occasions where you can't help it if they're sat outside in the sun and they don't move. Which we do. We do tell the teams, look, that person hasn't moved for quite a long time.
You've seen all sorts.
Yeah. But it's being aware of your surroundings as well, isn't it? When you're running a business, and your team are aware of what's going on. They're not there playing with the phones and doing their hair and makeup, and that's just the chef. So.
Yeah, the reason I was asking this because I had a conversation. I'm not sure if you watch or listen to the podcast with the Minister Kirsten Morel, and I asked him, I'm like, look, what about this tax? Like many people say, that this is not. Well, their argument was like, well, it's health related, but I'm like, are there any studies? Because Marcus actually mentioned that, I was like, well, there are not studies to prove that, if you raise the tax, people will stop drinking and, their health will improve. There's no really studies behind it. So it was very thin ice. And he said that he didn't vote for it because it was a majority of people that vote. And that's why he voted and that's why he went through. But it must have been quite big of a hit, and especially for a company like yours that produces alcohol. It's not just the pub itself. If you think like bigger scale, they must have been quite affected by it.
Yeah, massively. You add to that the freight duties that went up, the cost of electricity and gas gone through the roof. It's a massive knock-on effect, and also the minimum wage gone up. So there are many factors that have caused an increase. But putting 4.5% extra duty on is crazy. Absolute crazy. Saying it's health related. Come on, who are they trying to kid? What you're gonna have 3, 4, 5 pints instead of going home and getting a case of beer? Yeah, come on.
Is it becoming unaffordable? Do you get people coming to the pub and be like, look, I know that you guys trying to make just a small margin, but because of everything else, that's been passed on to you, it's just more expensive. It's just the way it is because you got to raise the prices to make the business at least afloat. Do you have people saying, man, I'd love to stay for 1 or 2 more beers, but you know what? I'm out.
People will come and they won't drink as much. They'll spend the same amount of time, but they'll have 1 pint less.
Yeah. So
great, but they're still spending time. And they're getting that stimulation.
Yeah.
They're meeting their friends, they're chatting to people. They could be sitting at the end of the bar just constantly complaining, but that's what they do, and because the world's a wonderful place. Many different people make the world go round, and if we were all happy and jovial, it'd be a bit boring, wouldn't it? So you need some characters at the bar as well. So, but they don't drink as much. Some do. Some like the party and it won't stop them. But some just go, I'll have 1 less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still coming for that conversation and,
course.
almost like checking in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's even, they'll watch the football to come in and dissect it the day after with their friends. And especially, the United games. As I said, we're all segregated, but downstairs, there's so many different teams, so there's, clubs, and the banter's great downstairs. But you can't have that upstairs because there'd be a bit of antagonism and a lot of wind-ups going. But the next day, the lads from the supporters club will come down. They speak to Spurs fans, Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans. They'll pick apart the games and say, "Yeah, this was terrible. That was awful. Yeah, we know. We're going through what you've been going through. I think we had a better season than most anyway. So even though we finished 8th, we beat City in the FA Cup final, which is nice.
Yeah, that must have been a proud moment. Like I know, as I said, we were talking about earlier. One of my colleagues, he didn't really have high hopes from that game. He was like, it's gonna be really tough. We don't really have many chances. So I guess once you see the end result, must have been even more rewarding.
Yeah. We got into France. Season ticket holder at United, so we're pretty much guaranteed cup final games. My wife booked a holiday in France on cup final day. I wasn't too pleased. To say the least. But one of the lads used my ticket, and that was good. It went back, and somebody got used to it. So I got into the pub in the main zone, and first person I see was a City fan. So I passed a little comment, so look, we've lasted 1 minute and 35 seconds more than we did last season. So, we were only 1.5 minutes in. 1-0 down after 12 seconds last season. So yeah, there was a bit of banter there. Then next thing, one of the lads from the supporters club had already booked the main zone with his lad to play golf around France. I was like, Gate, Greg, what are you doing here? What are you doing? I thought you'd be at the final. I thought you'd be at the final. Yeah. So yeah, we both missed out on the final, but we had a good celebration and a good drink there. But it was massive. There must have been 150 United fans in the bar against 5 City fans.
Wow.
So it's just it's just a huge club. As I alluded to earlier with New South Wales 30th anniversary only this year. Maltese Supporters Club, the oldest club in the world, 65 years.
Wow.
They just celebrated. So they had a gang of ex-United players over, and a lot of supporters go over to support these events. I think there was the 60th anniversary of Malta. There was 500 from around the world went across. Oof. That was phenomenal. Sadly, I couldn't make the 65th with being busy with work and other events. Definitely the 70th. Yeah, we're celebrating our 35th anniversary next year. So we're going to hopefully we're going to try and get something big going.
Amazing.
Yeah, get a dinner and a couple of ex-players across.
So good.
Yeah.
But Keith, you've been in hospitality for how long? How many years? Like altogether, it must have been like a gazillion of years. But
I poured my first pint illegally when I was 14. I used my brother's national insurance card to get a job in the Marble Arch pub in Drimna, the only pub in Drimna, and as a lounge boy. So things are different in Ireland, where we'll have kids who work on the floor. They get a float. You go around taking orders from people, and it's brought to you. You don't have to go to the bar and get your drinks. It's a great education for these kids, though, to understand the social side of how to socialise.
Yeah.
A big thing that we missed out for a couple of years with the pubs being closed in COVID. So yeah, I was 14, poured my first pint. But I went in the kitchens. I was offered an apprenticeship as a barman, and in Ireland it is different. You've got to do an apprenticeship. You've got to go to college to become a barman. It is serious business in Dublin, in Ireland.
Did you find that game changer? Like a game changer experience. Going through school, or you just can learn it on the job. You don't really need it. Do you think it's important school for hospitality?
It is, yes. It's, especially the hygiene side of things, how to treat your lines, but how to treat your own person, how to develop your character, how to speak to people, to keep discipline side of things. But knowledge, you can't work, you can't progress without knowledge. Yeah. And getting the basics right. I ended up in catering school. I started working at 15 in the kitchen. And I've been so blessed throughout my life, working with absolutely amazing people. Robbie Doyle, who's now in Australia, mentored me throughout my my time in the kitchen. Gave me the keys to the restaurant before I turned 20. He moved down to Wicklow and said, "Look, basically, run it for me. I'm here. I'll be up 2 a week, 3 times a week." A wonderful fella, a mountain of knowledge, and I hadn't seen him. I think it was 1998. Was the last time I seen him. Then my wife got in touch in Australia, and we went to Australia for just after my 40th birthday, and it was like we hadn't skipped a heartbeat. We were back into our old ways, just chatting. It was like nothing happened.
Vast experience that you've got, how did you see the hospitality changing throughout the years, from back in the days to what is today?
Yeah. So yeah, it was late 80s when I started. And we had that same sort of thing where there was a lot of students coming into hospitality, and the passion wasn't there. It was just a job. It was a
temporary job.
Yeah,
get the money and
it was just a way to make get themselves a few drinks and buy the cans of beans and get them from week to week until they qualified in whatever studies they were doing. But there was a big investment in Ireland into hospitality again, and I got very, very lucky with. I suppose I caught the end of the old school chef side of things, where it was passionate. It was sometimes violent in the kitchen, and then went into kind of the new world, for want of a better word. The way a lot of people are treated a lot better.
Is it
a lot
more
respect.
appreciated in Ireland? Would you say that it's the kind of job that's more appreciated in Ireland than, let's say, here in Jersey?
Absolutely, and you can see it when Irish people travel. They show a lot more respect to our team, because they know that it's hard work. A lot of people put hours in, ridiculous hours. You get I could run a pub. Okay. You come in at 7 o'clock in the morning. You do the lines. Yeah, you can do all the paperwork that we got to do before we even open up. The health and safety.
I think people see just sometimes the romantic part. Where you go and talk to guests and you have fun and you pour a pint and you have another laugh. But that's it's probably the easy part of everything.
There's probably I do 65, 70 hours a week, and there's about 20%, 25%, maybe 30% of my time spent front of house, pouring beer. A lot of it's sorting things out. You don't just open the door and it happens.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure that the staff's well-being is looked after. The chefs are okay. We've got enough stock. Everything's rotated. The fridges are clean. The glass machine. The general upkeep of the building. So you only see it the front of the bar. It's what goes on behind it. The heartbeat. You're pouring a pint. That's the easy part.
We touched on a few challenges that you're going through at this point. Is there anything else that bothers you like a lot in your job?
In the job, not really. No. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. 36 years in hospitality. If I didn't enjoy it, I'd give it up. I tried to do an easier job for a couple.
I was going to say, have you tried doing something else?
Yeah. So I was in Banks Restaurant for a number of years, and before I went to Liberation Group in 2004. I tried an easier job, 8 to 3. No, it's not for me. I can't. What do people do at night?
You just need that vibe, I guess.
Yeah, it's the buzz. It's the adrenaline, the atmosphere. I struggled through COVID because I wasn't around people. It helped. It affected me quite a lot. But thankfully, I've got a beautiful family, amazing wife, and wonderful child, which kept me ticking over quite a lot. And it was nice to spend a lot of time with them, because at the moment, and even before, probably one of the reasons why my wife and I are still together, because we don't see each other a lot, and when we do, it's precious time.
Yeah.
So it's quality time with the family that we get, instead of just having 6 or 7 hours and sat there and not talking to each other and playing on phones and whatever people do in the time they have.
Make the most of the time you've got.
Yeah. You try and do it. But I'm getting dragged away playing a lot of golf lately, so yeah, but she's brilliant. She's fantastically patient with me, and so.
Is she in hospitality too?
No. She's a compliance officer.
So, that makes it more challenging, because when you have people from the same background, kind of. I'm not saying that surely you understand each other, because that's why you're still together, but it makes it easier. The conversation, I guess, is slightly easier when you're like, well, I've got to do 70 hours a week or 60 hours a week, just because it's the way it works. For someone that does 35, 40, it's really hard to sometimes understand, the process. How can you have a life?
Yeah, you don't switch the computer off and that's it. It's not like that. But yeah, as I said, she is brilliant. She has done a bit of hospitality work in the past, when she was in her early days. And she understands the work that goes in, and I don't come up screaming and shouting about work when things go wrong. And she knows how passionate I am, and she gives me a lot of strength when things are tough.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like sometimes, my wife, she's always like, sometimes saying, I don't really do much, for you. It feels like you're always there for me. I'm like, if it's peace and quiet and you just let me do my thing, that's already the world to me.
Yeah.
And I think, that's sometimes, more than anything else in a relationship. Yeah, totally. But then with all this wealth of experience, because you mentioned, getting out or you try for a bit is not really an option because you just feel like it's not the right place for you. But opening your own place, have you ever thought about it?
I've been offered a couple of quite a substantial amount of money to open my own place, but not in Jersey. The timing has never been right. The business has never been right. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
But I would have to go back into the kitchen if I did and get somebody really strong to run the front of the house. Because if I did have my own place, my own kitchen, it would have to be done my way.
Would you say that the kitchen is the engine of I don't know how much for a pub, but if let's say you would to open something, would you open a pub or a restaurant or a takeaway? Or
a restaurant.
Yeah,
it would be a restaurant.
It would be a restaurant.
Yeah, it would be a restaurant. A pubs. It's quite challenging.
It's hard to form that community,
I
guess. You know, I that's how I see it, at least.
As difficult as it is running any business in hospitality, going into a kitchen and running it from the inside is getting that right. And for me, that would have to be the way I do things and the way I cook and my heart on the plate, my love on the plate. You can get people that can work to your level from the house, but people don't feel the passion on the plate. And it's okay if it's a business. If it's 50-50, you've got a great chef and a great front of house and it works well together. So, it would have to be me in the kitchen. So.
And the passion in the plate, if you don't have it, it's very visible.
Yeah.
You can't really hide it.
You can taste it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. From seeing it to taste it to smell it to there's so many things that could go wrong if you don't do it.
Absolutely.
The way you should be done.
100%.
Yeah.
And also building that team spirit in the kitchen, and them understanding if you are taking a day off, that it does have to be done this way. When I was the head chef in D Snuff before I took over Five Oaks as general manager, I had my Bible. Every recipe was written down, pictures, and that was it. It was done that way. We had 105 dishes on the menu. Then we opened from 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the evening, straight through, 7 days a week. So it has to be done the same way. People have to not understand or not realise the head chef's not here today.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Because they're coming for exactly the same meal that they had a week ago or a few days ago. They don't care, and they shouldn't care that the head chef is not there, right?
Yeah. They shouldn't see it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't see it and they shouldn't taste it.
Should be seamless, yeah. No, I totally agree. It's what consistency is all about. The kitchen or the place should run without the main guy, whoever that might be.
Yeah. And it's a lot down to how you're training and treating people as well. If you're not treating them right, you're not going to get it. So it's all about treating people the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree with that more than anything else, And it's also the fact, like I say to my wife sometimes, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So it's actually something that we had a conversation earlier. You got to have that, you have to be a people's person to know how to work with people, first of all.
Yeah.
From the point of view of staff communication and also the customers that you've got in, you just can't fake it for that many years.
But you can't,
like you've done, like you've been in.
You can't treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
Some people need to kick up the backside to get the best out of them. Some people an arm around the shoulder. Some people need to sit down and talk to. Yeah, because they could be going through troubles, issues.
And you've got to have all those skills to play with each one.
Yeah, and it doesn't just happen. You learn on the job yourself. I've made lots of mistakes with people and not treating them badly, but misunderstanding the character.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still in touch with a lot of the old team that I've worked with, old chefs. My best mate from Angola, I worked in Little Lisbon, in Dublin in Temple Bar. I hadn't seen him since the late 90s. He came over for my 50th from Boston for a day.
Wow.
Yeah, organised by my wife.
Amazing.
He flew over for a day. So I had 3 drinks on my 50th and drove him up to the airport the next morning.
Wow.
Yeah, he was the one suffering with a hangover. It should have been the other way around, really. But no, great guy from Angola. Moved to Boston. So you know, forging these friendships, relationships.
Yeah.
It's you know, you keep them forever.
What kept you in Jersey, Heath? Because I know you said that you had offers for, you know, getting a pub or a restaurant or a business, a hospitality business outside of the island.
Yeah.
So I guess something must have kept you here because you obviously like something about this island.
Yeah, look, it's really safe. I'm from Drimmen in Dublin. I've seen a lot of stuff growing up. So I've got 2 children. I've got a 23-year-old. She's 24 in August, and a 9-year-old. So don't make it easy on myself, do I? Just when you think it's okay.
Back in the game.
Back in the game, yeah. Hospitality got too easy. I had to have more children. I couldn't think of anywhere more beautiful or safe to bring children up. It's great. My whole idea of coming to Jersey was a stepping stone to end up chocolatiering in Switzerland. I've still not been to Switzerland, so I'll have to do that at some stage. Even if it is just to go in and get a bar of chocolate and come out.
Tick that box.
Yeah, just tick that box. Yeah, it's on the bucket list. But yeah, I can't. The people are great. Huh? It's a hard place to find your feet, but once you do, people complain about Jersey, this Jersey, that Jersey. Go somewhere else, live in a big city. I challenge anybody who complains about Jersey to live in a big city and enjoy it. It's tough. You know, you've come from a fairly big city, you know.
Yeah, so I'm coming. Yeah, so for me, it wasn't necessarily the safety part. I mean, it's beautiful. It's amazing. I like it. It's quiet. I like it.
It's peaceful.
My hometown, I mean, I'm coming from a slightly smaller town in Romania, but although it's quiet and it's got everything else, I like, very close to the sea, you know. Okay, the weather might not, because people, you know, sometimes complain about that, but that's not under our control. So let's forget about that, you know. And my first reaction when I heard about the place was like, wow, there's so many restaurants, because I always wanted to be in hospitality. I'm like the possibilities are endless. They're in Jersey, probably there are like 10 times more restaurants, even more than in my hometown.
Right.
And obviously a lot better as well. And I'm like, you know, I can't miss on this opportunity. And I fell in love with the island. And I agree with you, you know, if you genuinely don't like it, why talk shit about it? You know, just leave. And he's coming from a Romanian, he's probably not that impactful. But if you don't like a place, you know, these days we are not like back in years and years back, you know, where the only option was where you were born, that's where you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Now the world is yours almost.
Of course. You know, I moved to South Africa when I was 21. Spent nearly a year there. Came back and everybody sat in the pub just complaining about the same stuff a year ago. Get off your backside and do something about it.
Yeah.
You're in control of your own destiny. Change it. You know, challenge yourself. But don't sit there and complain. And I got fed up with listening to it.
Yeah.
So that set me off on, you know, I need to get out of Ireland again, need to get out of Dublin again, because I'll just end up like them. You know, I'll just complain and not enjoy life.
Yeah.
I've done so much since I've come to Jersey. It has given me so much. You know, hard work, but
yeah,
you know, I've benefited a lot from it.
Yeah, I'm so grateful as well. I always say it, you know, if I wasn't enjoying it, you know, I'll be the first one to like let's just go.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. You know, if you don't like it, you know, you're not set in one place. Just try something else.
Yeah, of course.
Might work, it might not, but at least you give it a go.
Yeah, and you can't walk around 10 years later and go, oh well, I should have done it.
Yeah.
I wish I had have.
Yeah.
You know?
Regret is a big.
Big. Yeah, you take that to your grave with you. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. About that, yeah, it was actually I watched someone talking. I don't know, it was on YouTube. I can't remember. Just listening in the background and doing editing videos and so on. And he was saying that if you go to places where whether a pub, whether you know where you have older generation people, most of the time they don't talk about things they achieved. They talk about things that they wish they did.
Yeah.
So it's true, because I actually, looking back, you know, my grandparents, my grandparents, you know, when they're talking, they never really talk. Well, they never, not that often talking about their achievements, more talking about what they could have done and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So as you say, you know, yeah, don't live with that regret. Do it.
Yeah. I was very fortunate, just touching it quickly, you know, my wife's grandparents, amazing people. Sadly, Barbie's not very well at the moment. And her husband passed away a few years ago, but they loved life. They traveled everywhere. They had the best, and they worked so hard all through the life for it.
Yeah.
But
Enjoy it till last minute.
Yeah, enjoy it. And that was you know, their motto really was enjoy life. You're here for a good time, not a long time really, are you? So get out and enjoy it, see things, travel, experience other cultures. And we're fortunate enough, you know, that we are in a place where it's affordable for most people, thankfully. And we've been very lucky. We've done a lot of traveling, so we've taken it on board and seen a lot of beautiful things our children have. But we still come back to Jersey. Yeah. Because it has everything, you know.
And this feels home, and it is home.
Yeah, it feels like home. It does really feels like home.
But for people like you being that long in this industry, you know, I'm sure you will have some good advice for people that, there are not many, we know it, but they want to get into hospitality. What would be your advice?
Don't give up if you're passionate about it. Stick with it, because it's not going to be easy all the time. But if you have a belief and a target, set that target. Set your bar at 10. But don't have your 10 way up here unachievable. Achieve that 10. Set the bar a little bit higher. Set the bar a little bit higher. And keep raising your standards, raising the spirits. Set that bar higher every time you hit a target. But you have to enjoy what you're doing. Because as soon as you stop enjoying it, it's pointless.
Yeah. It's really sad when I hear people hating their jobs. It's one of the things that I always run away from it. Like, it's not like I'm 100 years old, you know. I've not had that many jobs till now, but each one of them I had, I didn't hate any of them, which was I feel so lucky just from this point of view. It's so powerful when you don't go to work and you're like, I'm here again. My God, just started. I wish I was. Well, there are days like that, but if you live constantly with that in mind, that's a really bad place to be.
Yeah, of course it is. You know, I'm 20 years with Liberation Group, and I still consider it one job, even though I've been the head chef in the townhouse for 2 years, 6 years in Decent Enough, 2 years at Five Oaks as general manager. White Horse, reopened the White Horse after the first investment in 2013, and 2018 moved to the Post Farm. But I'm not finished yet. I don't feel like I've completed everything that I need to do and to make me feel fulfilled in my job.
Yeah.
With Liberation Group, because there's so much more I can achieve with the company. I've seen a lot of change, and I've struggled through some of it, but I always knew it was changing for the right reason. I had to change to move on and progress. And sometimes you've got to roll with the punches and stick with it. It's not always going to be easy, you know, but you have to believe. If you feel like you're with the right company, stick with them, give them a chance.
But what do you think kept you for that long? Because 20 years with one company, especially these days, we're talking today. If we're talking if I talk to my mother or to my grandmother, you know, they probably start the job and finish the job, you know, when they retire. So it was quite common to be in that job forever. But these days, and we're talking like right now, people change jobs quite often, you know. It's like 1 year here, 2 years there, and so on. Which sometimes, if you do it for a good reason, and you want to progress, because that's part of progressing as well. Sometimes, you know, you start, let's say, from a coffee shop, and then you move on till a Michelin star place. Let's say if that's your dream.
Yeah.
But what kept you, you know, for that long?
It's diversity in the role. You're not doing the same thing every day. It feels like sometimes you're doing the same thing, or you're banging your head in a brick wall, but you're chiseling away, and you're breaking things down, and you're achieving your goals. You're setting targets for yourself. You're training people. I get great satisfaction now of seeing, as I said, people progress through. So, you know, a lot of knowledge, and there's a lot of people with vast amounts of knowledge who don't pass it on, which is a waste. I just love trying to train people and get the best out of people. And you can see something in someone, you know, it's a rough diamond.
I think that's a very rewarding part. You don't just do it for the customer.
Yeah.
As a manager, you know, you do it for your staff as well.
Yeah.
I think the reward comes from both sides.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot. There's been a lot of changes in ops managers recently, operations managers. But I've learned a lot from every one of them. They're all different people. They all bring different things to play. But as soon as I feel I'm not learning anymore, you've got to try and learn something every day. I hate computers, but now I've set myself a challenge to start working on spreadsheets, data, and
I was going to ask, how do you see technology impacting
it's great.
hospitality
It's
today?
great because you can pinpoint the
see
weakness.
graphs, you can see
The weaknesses in the business, where you can improve. You can't always improve, but you can always try. There's no point in let's work on a Friday, let's work on the weekend, let's hammer social media the weekend. But Monday and Tuesday are failing. So let's try and figure that out, and all the data, and the spreadsheets that we get sent, and I'm starting to understand them a lot better now. But it's there to help. So try not be afraid of it, and that's what I had to tell myself. I feel like a bit of a dinosaur. I'm only 50, but I do feel like a bit of a dinosaur in the industry, and I'm going to go, oh, what's this?
But when you say that you want to learn, you say, because many people, when they think, I still to get there, but let's say I was 50, sometimes you get to an age where it's like, I kind of know, some people are like, I kind of know everything. And you saying at 50, after doing that much hospitality from 14, you're still learning something every day. That shows the commitment, that you want to get better. You want to do it both for you, for your staff, and for your customers, which is amazing.
Yeah. I want to leave something behind. People remember me as somebody who always tried, but somebody who has passed knowledge on. There's no point, as I said, there's no point in having it if you're not going to share it. You can't always get it right. You can't always have people willing to take the knowledge and turn it into something different for themselves. Sometimes you do, and so you could have half a dozen out of 12, but that's great. You could have 1 out of 10, but that one person can go on to achieve wonderful things.
Yeah,
and, if it makes a change, it's great.
Yeah, amazing. What are the future plans now? You change a few places, but was all within Liberation. Yeah. Is there anything else planned? Is it going to be extremely hard to leave Posthorn for any other establishment? Although you kind of got used to it, getting businesses up and moving on. Yeah,
but the beauty of the Posthorn is it just feels like my baby. It has everything. Great function room, great function space, bar, really good pub food.
The favorite team is there. The fans of your favorite. That was
my life, United. I'd be lost without that. It has everything, and it just feels so right. I suppose if it was a business I wanted to open, it would be the Posthorn. If I did have the money to have it, I would. I'd offer millions and millions for it. Unfortunately, I don't. My wife likes spending, so lots of shoes.
We know that. Yeah. That's what usually happens.
In fairness, I've got more shoes than her, so I can't really.
Okay, she needs to.
Yeah, she needs to step up again.
Okay. More shoes on order.
Adidas trainers.
This is it. Kit, it was an amazing conversation, and I really appreciate that you took time from leaving your Posthorn business, especially on these days, when games are happening, people are coming, like in big numbers,
in droves.
Yeah, which is good, good for business.
Great. It's great, but it also, it gives. Romania had a great result today, didn't it? 3-0.
Yes, yeah. It was very
quite unexpected.
Yes, it was. I didn't have high hopes, to be fair, but it seems like we still have something to show, which is amazing.
Yeah,
and hopefully everything else goes well for the rest of the teams, and someone's got to lose. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, I hope Scotland get through.
Yeah,
they deserve a good tournament. Good bunch of people, and they enjoy themselves.
Still time.
Yeah, 4 points to get them through. A draw and a win.
Yeah, this is it. All you need. You need. Yeah. Amazing conversation, Kit. And I genuinely want to get you back at some point when we'll have more stories to talk about, when we'll have more conversations to bring on the podcast, because I really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for the invite. It's been great.
Absolutely amazing.
Something very different for me, and I'll try and get our executive chef from across from
that
the
would
UK,
be amazing. Yeah,
and our ops manager John.
I would love to get some more guys from your business, because it's definitely a different perspective, because we get small businesses, we get big businesses, and it's nice to see like where we are with this hospitality in Jersey. Great. I'll see you next time, whatever that might be.
Thanks very much. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Cheers, pal.